On behalf of Dr. Heim and myself, Cindy Wilhelm, I'm happy to welcome you and thank you for tuning in to our interactive paper presentation that was recorded for the virtual AIB 2020 conference. Our paper carries the title Extractive MNEs and Sustainable Development, a comparative study of the least developed and emerging resource-rich countries. Historically, extractivism has faced numerous challenges and has failed to achieve spillovers and linkages effects. Strategies to achieve resource-based development have changed over time to tackle issues such as the resource curse and enclave extractivism. A popular tool are industrial policies targeted at spillovers and linkages effects to unfold as many activities as possible from extractive activities along the respective value chain. One of such policies are so-called local content policies, LCPs. The idea of LCPs are the transformation of direct and indirect employment and the procurement of goods and services into a local industry with linkages and spillovers generated along the entire value chain. Kazakhstan has included LCPs since its independence in the 1990s in its oil and gas sector. Guinea has just recently included LCPs for its bauxite industry in its new mining regulation in 2013. By using a comparative case study design using qualitative methods, combining document analysis and semi-structured interviews, we embarked on the following project. We thought comparing Kazakhstan and Guinea would be extremely valuable. Guinea and Kazakhstan have a similar development path. 25 years ago, Kazakhstan experienced a GDP per capita as Guinea does nowadays. Both countries developed economies based on the resource sector and both had a lower level of industrialization at the beginning of the natural resources exploitation. So we thought it would be interesting to compare the experiences and see how the Guinean case could benefit from the Kazakhstani lessons. Our research aim is to see from the experiences of Kazakhstan and Guinea to contribute to knowledge creation on overcoming the resource curves and enclave nature of extractivism to achieve sustainable inclusive development through the successful growth of linkages and spillovers and diversification. And the question we looked at is, how can multinational enterprises contribute in sustainable development, and what policy is needed to support extractive MNEs in the settings of the low-income resource-abundant economy? And basically we did four things. We analyzed and compared firstly the LNS requirements in Guinea and Kazakhstan, the role of international extractive companies in Guinea and Kazakhstan, the economic barriers for spillovers in both countries, and based on the analysis and comparison, we offer management implications, policy recommendations, and future research directions. Our case study comparison showed us that the diversification spillovers in the least developed countries depend on positive strategic responses of extractive MNEs on public activities, and this can be seen in 6 main points of analysis. Firstly, multinational enterprises are central players of diversification policy. So even if local content policies are state mandated, it is the multinational enterprises that have to comply with them. Secondly, diversification policy is a complex construct that requires diverse public participation. And we see that the cases of Guinea and Kazakhstan show that more public interventions at the initial stage are needed. This goes hand in hand with the active support of local individuals and small, medium-sized enterprises. And this is directly connected to the development of labor skills and the necessary educational entrepreneurial environment. And lastly, despite the enthusiasm for LCPs, the widening scope of spillover and linkages effects beyond the mining sector needs to be recognized. So let's conclude. We see that the successful implementation of industrial policies such as LCPs to tackle the resource curse and enclave nature of extractivism to achieve sustainable inclusive development through the successful growth of LNS and diversification is contingent on a variety of factors. We identify a wide variety of obstacles and limitations, and decisive public-private collaboration in the initial stage is recommended, as well as thorough negotiation process between multinational enterprises and local companies. Special attention needs to be paid to labor skills development. We see that LCP research and policy modifications have gained a decisive momentum, which is why this comparative study is valuable. We see that future research should address the capability development by local firms, as well as understanding the role of other, mainly public actors, and the topic of corruption in resource-abundant countries, as well as female empowerment in the mining industry, are very interesting future channels of research. And we want to underline that policy is a complex construct of different elements, which requires a thorough interplay of all actors. We encourage policymakers to consider better policy formulation at different stages of economic development, and in particular, public intervention in the initial stage that needs to address the development of STEM disciplines and education. Thank you. We look forward to your comments and questions.